Lila, can you stop looking at your paws? No one wants to hear that. Thank you. Hi everyone, and welcome back to Big City B. I'm B, for those of you who are just joining me for the first time. If you like what you're watching, make sure you're subscribed and hit that like button. Let's get started. Today's book review is going to be Open Book by Jessica Simpson. This book is obviously an autobiography and there are some trigger warnings, so make sure you check out down below in the description. Here is your summary. Jessica tells of growing up in the 1980s in Texas where she was sexually abused, an unsuccessful audition for the Mickey Mouse Club, signing a record deal with Columbia, and marrying Nick Lachey. Your characters for this book. For track 1, we have Jessica Simpson, her mother, and her father. For track 2, we have Nick Lachey and John Mayer. For track 3, we have Ashley Simpson and Eric Johnson, Jessica's husband. Jumping right into what I liked about this book. The first thing that I liked about this book was the inside scoop on a relationship with John Mayer. I've kind of heard that he's a jerk in a lot of his relationships, and so seeing Jessica's account of her on again, off again, official, not official relationship with John Mayer just kind of reconfirmed the things that I had heard. The second thing that I liked about this book was learning about Jessica Simpson's clothing line and her audition processes for her models and how she started it and working with her mother. I thought that that was all really interesting, and I can appreciate it. I can appreciate a strong businesswoman. The third thing that I liked about this book was Jessica's message of body positivity, although she's not great at taking her own advice. Let's go on to things that I did not like about this book. The first and biggest thing that I did not like about this book is that it's like the first third is super religious, Jesus-y, and that's fine for people who align more with that. But with me, I'm an agnostic Jew. I just it was so boring. I couldn't relate to it at all. And I know that's one of my criticisms is like when people are like, it's a bad book because you didn't relate to it. I don't think it's a bad book because I didn't relate to it, but I felt like the Jesus-y and Christian messaging throughout the whole book was like just too much. The second thing that I didn't like was it was a little too overly motivational. You know those signs that are like live, laugh, love, and you just see them everywhere because everyone has them, and it feels insincere because now it's so widely spread, and I just felt like a lot of her messaging within this autobiography was insincere and laid on thick. The third thing that I did not like about this book is that it felt so long. This book is like 450 pages, and I felt like it took forever. I actually started this book in, I think it was March or April of 2020, and I got to the first 30 pages and I set that book down and I could not finish it. For the rest of 2020, I was like, no, this book is not for me. I really don't want to finish it. Seems like it's forever and I'm only 30 pages in. It's too religious. It's like overly sentimental. I was so not into it. But I can't DNF a book, so I picked it back up again in early January, and I was like, I'm gonna finish this because I don't want this hanging around on my Goodreads currently reading anymore, and I just want to be done with it. The fourth thing that I didn't like about this book was really something I would have liked seen interspersed without the book, were actual selections from her journal. She does quote her journal sometimes where she'll like give a sentence or two, but I think it would have been interesting in a way to break up her storytelling if she had just photocopied a page of her journal in there and just let you read it. It didn't even need to be like the full journal entry, but like seeing just her handwriting in that time period with the journal segment, I think would have been a little bit more interesting. You can tell a lot by a person's handwriting, and I think that for me, it would have given me something to look forward to when I was reading this book, because I really was only looking forward to finishing it. That's all I have for the things I liked and didn't like, so you know what that means. Let's go on over to Goodreads takes. So Goodreads ended up giving this book a 4.13. Why? First thing that people liked about Open Book was they liked the honesty around her most publicized moments. The second thing that Goodreads liked is they thought it was highly entertaining and empowering. The third thing that Goodreads liked was that they grew up with Jessica Simpson, so reading this memoir was like a trip back down nostalgia lane. And again, this is something I can't relate to because, like I said, I was watching cartoons and Disney Channel movies at this point, so I wasn't really super interested in Jessica Simpson's music career or TV career. My favorite part, let's go into what Goodreads didn't like about this book. The first thing that they didn't like was that they didn't learn anything new about Jessica Simpson, and I kind of agree. Even though I had a very vague, generalized sense of who Jessica Simpson was and her highly publicized moments in her life and career, I didn't learn anything new. Usually within a memoir, you want to learn about things that you didn't know about the person you're reading about. The second thing that Goodreads didn't like was it seemed like Jessica was hypocritical in this book, whether that be about body positivity, but then she went to go get a tummy tuck and would constantly be fixated on her weight, or having an accessible clothing brand, but then herself only buying luxury and high-end clothing brand items. They just felt like this hypocrisy was just very apparent in this book, and it was something that they didn't like, and I mean, I kind of agree. Okay, the last one I can relate to a little bit too much. The third thing that Goodreads said was that they read this book after the prologue in the first chapter, and oh my gosh, yes, same. I was just so angry the whole time I read this book, and I was like, "Rah, I don't like reading this, but I'm gonna finish it because I don't not finish books. Yeah!" Quote number 1. Sometimes we are all so afraid to be honest with ourselves because we know that honesty will lead somewhere. And I mean, yes, I agree with this. If I'm honest with myself, I'm a mess. Not like emotionally or anything, but maybe during the pandemic, but like my room and surroundings are always a mess. This looks super clean because you know why? Because I clean it before every single time I film. But if I am honest with myself about that, then maybe I need to take organizational lessons and figure out why I like to have my place a mess, and that seems like a lot of work and I don't want to do that. Quote number 2. How many times are women made to feel responsible for the actions of men? Yes. Okay, let's just go to the biggest example. Anytime a woman is raped, it's her fault even though the man raped her. Crazy, right? Because it's what we wear or what we said or what we didn't say, and it's always our fault. Quote number 3. Press pause for a second on your life and ask yourself, what is my calling? I like this one because I think people get too stuck in ruts and forget what they're passionate about and what they want to go for in their life, and I think, hey, stop, take a minute, remember, remind yourself, why are you here? Why are you doing what you're doing? And get back on the right path to what you're passionate about and go do it. In conclusion, would I recommend this book? Absolutely not. No, I would not recommend this book. It just didn't click for me. I'm empathetic for the things that Jessica went through, but I just did not like her writing style. It was long and tedious to read and super religious, and I have nothing against people who are secure and sound and find happiness and security in their religion, but I don't want to hear about it. Is that rude? Should I not say that? But I mean, it's true. Like, if that works for you, that's fine. Like, if you're a vegan, that's fine, that's for you, but I'm gonna have a burger and I don't want to hear about why you're a vegan unless I ask for it. I also feel like this book, for my generation and younger, it just doesn't really hit the same because in a lot of ways I feel like Britney Spears was more prevalent in our lives, especially because she had like the later midlife crisis. She's having issues with her money now between her dad being the controller or her sister being the controller, and I think she's just stayed a little bit more in the media than Jessica has. So for my generation and younger, we don't really know her, so reading about her life is maybe not that interesting. This is a no-go for me. I would not read this again. Do I think that it's a book that has no redeeming qualities whatsoever? No. There were a few parts that I enjoyed. I thought she had a couple good messages in the book, but in general, I don't think most people need to read this book. So that's all I have for you guys this week. Let me know down in the comments, did you listen to Jessica Simpson? Do you know any of her songs? I actually don't think that I do. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and that you're subscribed. Alrighty everyone, I'll see you next time. All the best always. Bye.